On October 7, 2023, dozens of Palestinian fighters managed to infiltrate the highly securitized border and attacked neighboring Israeli army positions, cities and settlements.
אנחנו במלחמה, לא במבצע, לא בסבבים, במלחמה.
The Israeli government responded by launching an all-out assault on the Gaza Strip and its 2.2 million inhabitants. In doing so, Israel lay Gaza under siege, cutting water, electricity, food and fuel supplies to the Strip. Then it was the turn of the telecommunications and the internet. On October 27, 2023, Gaza was literally cut off from the rest of the world. The blackout on all communications went on for days, and more shutdowns would follow as the siege progressed. The question looms: how could Israel exert such an overreaching control over the digital life of the Palestinians?
Occupation is a constant state of robbing a people their rights, their land, and of a series of denial of the most basic of rights, like the right of self-determination, the right of ownership and property, the right to move, the right to work, the right to love.
The digital occupation dates back to the 1993 with the Oslo Accords, because at that period of time, Israel tried to get the control of all the infrastructure, the telecommunication and transportation systems of the Palestine. So the thing is that when you are under a digital occupation, it means that you are every time, every minute, every second, you are being followed by Israel police and the military officers and intelligence officers as well.
مجال الرقمي التحكم فيه تقنيا وفيزيائيا. فيزيائيا عبر المعابر والقيود اللي بتفرض وتحديد الأجهزة وأنواعها اللي تدخل، وفي التحكم في الطيف الترددي اللي بسهولة يمكن للاحتلال إنه يتحكم فيه، يؤثر على قنوات البث سواء كان راديوية مرتبطة بالمحطات والإذاعات أو بالإنترنت اللاسلكي أو بخدمات المحمول. فبالتالي التحكم في الطيف الترددي تضع يعني قطاع غزة وفلسطين تحت احتلال واضح في قطاع الاتصالات. يعني الناس بتصل 970 لكن هو بمر عبر بوابة 972.
كثير من الأحيان الاحتلال بيطل عليك بالوجه البشع وبذكرك انه هو موجود، مع انه مفروض هذه الخدمات تكون بعيدة عن الامور السياسية، لانها هي مواضيع اكثر لها علاقة في حقوق الانسان والامور التجارية. ولكن يعني الكثير من الاحيان تعطيل ادخال الاجهزة، تعطيل توصيل المدن والقرى، تركيب الابراج، فهذا كله التعطيل هذا بكبر الفجوة الرقمية ما بين الشعوب المنطقة ولا سيما بيننا وبين الجانب الإسرائيلي. وأكثر إشي هذا الحكي بنشوفه بين أهلنا في غزة وبقية أجزاء الوطن.
When you are under the digital occupation, you cannot reach the internet connection. There won't be a very fast and safe internet connection to the world. And you cannot raise your voice in real time and without censorship.
في اتهام بنشر كلمات قبيح، تعاطف وتشغيل عمل ارهابي. لا دعم، استنى شوي، دعم تعريض يجب اعلانات حرب تحريم تعرض على العنف.
Anything that the Palestinians dare to do against the occupation is labeled by Israel as terror. There is the armed terror, which is terror obviously. There's the economical terror if you dare to call for boycotting Israel. There is the diplomatic terror when you go to the UN or to the international organizations. And there is also the digital terror.
يعني يا صباح الخير، نحن في باب العمود في المكان الأجمل إلى قلوب المقدسيين. هنا فسحة الأمل لكل محبي البلدة القديمة، ولكن بالعادة ما يكون هنالك بعض التنغيصات من قبل قوات الاحتلال للجالسين على الدرج.
Ramzi Al-Abbasi is a prominent Palestinian influencer, known for his active role in raising global awareness on the attempts to evict Palestinian residents from the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood in East Jerusalem. His online activism has made him a target both of social media platforms that have suspended his account several times and of Israeli authorities. A physiotherapist for disabled children, Ramzi was fired by Israel's civil administration in 2021 because he was considered to be a harm to the general public. In April 2023, while visiting his mother in hospital, he was arrested, detained for 3 months, and convicted to 1 year in prison on charges that were unrelated to his online activity.
يعني أنا تم التحقيق معي امبارح من قبل الشباك الإسرائيلي بعد خروجي ب8 أيام، وأكثر شيء أثر فيه مما يتعلق بالمحتوى الفلسطيني إنه قال لي اللي بضرب حجر هو واحد، ولكن اللي مؤثر في ناس اللي تسمع، فأنت بتكون من أخطر الناس علينا، فاللي زيك ممنوع يكون برا، لازم يضلوا بالسجن، فأنا لو علي بخليك جوا السجن.
So critics say that Palestinians are doubly monitored, both by Israeli authorities that surveil and censor their speech online, and by tech platforms that are known to work with Israeli authorities to take down Palestinian content. Palestinians are also subjected to quite draconian incitement laws, which means that many people who accidentally post, a lyric to a song or a status update that's taken out of context can be accused of inciting violence. And there's been many cases of this, of Palestinian users who post something taken out of context and are thrown in jail without trial for days or weeks on end. So it really goes to show how the digital sphere has been turned into a really contested and dangerous site for Palestinians in recent years.
The digital space is very important, and also Israel uses its machine to also inflict on the digital platforms a great deal of censorship. So the Palestinian content in the digital world is the most censored on earth, and censored to an extent that is completely immoral and serving the continuation of the oppression. For instance, if you say the word Al-Quds, which is the most holy of the holiest places for Palestinians, if you mention Al-Aqsa, your post might be deleted. And I have had this conversation with the leadership, the management of Meta, the management of other platforms, because some of their headquarters is in London. So literally, they are robbing the Palestinian people the use of ordinary names, terms, ideas, simply because they have completely adopted the framework in which the occupier has brought us in.
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
No one is allowed to steal it, يا عمي.
لما شافت إسرائيل هذا التعاطف الكبير والواسع مع قضية حي الشيخ جراح، بدأت بمضايقة أهل الحي وأيضا المؤثرين الذين يحاولون إيصال الحقيقة عن طريق إغلاق حساباتنا الشخصية على جميع مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي، اعتقالنا وإبعادنا عن حي الشيخ جراح، أيضا نصب الحواجز ومنع الصحفيين من دخول الحي لتوثيق الحقيقة. أيضا تعرضت لإصابات أثناء تغطيتي، وأيضا تعرضت للاعتقال والخطف من البلدة القديمة أثناء تصويري لبعض معالم البلدة القديمة، حيث تم تتبعي عن طريق أحد اللايفات التي كنت أنشرها، وتم خطفي من بين أصدقائي وتحويلي لجهة مجهولة.
So the problem here is that I think what we have to know is that Israel is, when it is like defining the contents and the content moderation, Israel is playing a very determinant role and creating a huge pressure on these companies as well as on social media platforms. So this is the reason that how these companies started to enlarge the definitions of anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism.
الحرب اللي فاتت السنة الماضية على غزة اشتغلت مع جزيرة انجلش، اشتغلت مع نيويورك تايمز واخرون.
Hussam Salim is a photographer in Gaza. In 2022, he experienced firsthand what it means to have your social media activity monitored and scrutinized by Israeli groups.
تم التواصل انه بدنا اياك في اسايمنت تغطي الاحداث اللي جاريه بغزه. تفاجأنا يوم 24 اغسطس انه في تقرير منشور عبر موقع اسرائيلي اسمه هونست ريبورتينج. فتحت التقرير طلعت انه انا ارهابي معادله الساميه. بوستات قديمه من 2014 2011 كنا نترحم فيها على شهداء، كنا نحكي فيها عن مقاومه الشعب الفلسطيني للاحتلال الاسرائيلي. بعديها بيومين 26 اغسطس لقيت خبر الموقع الاسرائيلي نزله انه نيويورك تايمز اخذت الاجراء المناسب بحق هؤلاء الصحفيين. احنا لحتى الان ما بنعرف شيء من نيويورك تايمز، انا كحسام ما بعرف شيء. بعديها تلقيت اتصال هاتفي من نيويورك تايمز، قالوا لي احنا اسفين ما حنقدر نكمل معك شغل بعد الان. في 30 اغسطس طلع مدير الموقع هذا الاسرائيلي هونست ريبورتينج بقول انه احنا حققنا انتصار كبير، فصلنا 3 ارهابيين بيشتغلوا نيويورك تايمز من غزه.
We succeeded in getting the New York Times to stop working with Fadi Hanona, Solomon Hiji, and Hossam Salem.
يعني أنا مهدد حالياً من قبل المخابرات الإسرائيلية بأن أي خبر أو أي موضوع يتم التطرق إليه حديثاً خارج السياق العادي سيتم ملاحقتي مباشرة واعتقالي مباشرة وعودتي إلى السجن والتمغيص على حياتي.
Israel exercises control over Palestinian online content and Palestinian telecommunications, restricting the capabilities of their communications system. At the same time, in the occupied territories, the Israeli Defense Forces has enforced a sophisticated surveillance system that relies on the most advanced military technology. At the forefront of this effort is the largest military intelligence corps in the IDF, known as Unit 8200.
Unit 8200 is an Israeli military unit. It's an infamous unit, infamous for using intelligence, using cyber technologies, surveillance technologies to control people, to control mainly Palestinians in the West Bank and in Gaza.
Security is our religion. Everything is allowed. And 8200, which should be in different atmosphere and different values, should be quite a shameful place, became the prestige and the elite unit of Israel.
It listens to people, it hacks people's, it hurts their privacy. It of course looks after people and even threatens after people with the information they gather about them. We have information and proof that 8200 used information they gathered about Palestinians to after that threaten them, to out them, and because of that they recruited them as informers for the Israeli military.
The Israeli Defense Forces has got its own intelligence directorate, as we know the name Amman. But then Amman splits into 3 different units. So 8200 is one of the units, and the second one is 9900, and the third one is 504 units. So the thing is that among these units of Amman, 8200 is the most, capable one, and it is most of the time associated with signal intelligence.
According to Amnesty International, the Palestinians have become the most surveilled people in the world. A wide network of CCTV cameras in the occupied territories keeps Palestinians under constant observation. In East Jerusalem alone, for instance, Amnesty has found 1 or 2 CCTV cameras every 5 meters.
The Israeli military has installed CCTV cameras throughout Palestinian neighborhoods in major cities. Residents say that some of these cameras look directly into their living rooms, directly into their bedrooms. They describe feeling as if their every move is being monitored and tracked by Israeli authorities. Their homes are spaces where they think they have total control, and they believe that they're totally sovereign over those spaces.
Thanks to an advanced, artificial intelligence-driven facial recognition technology, the Israeli army has also developed mobile phone applications that illegitimately acquire Palestinian biometric data to monitor and control people regardless of their age.
So Blue Wolf is a mobile application that Israeli soldiers have on their military-issued cell phones and iPads. And what Blue Wolf does is it allows soldiers throughout the occupied West Bank to take pictures of Palestinians and automatically pull up basic biographical information, biometric information, and a security rating. So while before Blue Wolf was only implemented at checkpoints, now Israeli soldiers have access to a vast database of biometric information from their military phones and iPads.
What has been defined by human rights groups as an automated apartheid system could not be possible without the support of some of the world's leading technology corporations.
I'm a Google Cloud software engineer, and I refuse to build technology that powers genocide, apartheid, or surveillance. Project Nimbus puts Palestinian community members in danger.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! No more tech for Israeli crime! No more tech for Israeli crime!
We have more reasons than ever to recommit ourselves to organizing to ensure that tech companies like Google, based right here in the Bay and in the United States, cannot continue profiting off of and powering Israeli apartheid.
So the Nimbus Cloud project is a $1.2 billion deal between Google, Amazon, and the Israeli military. And it's a deal that allows these companies to provide basic cloud computing software to the Israeli government and its military apparatus. So this includes basic things like storing data for its health services, but it also includes building up and storing surveillance data. What this also entails is that it's giving the Israeli military new surveillance technologies that critics say will enforce and enhance its control over Palestinian civilians.
So I think if we look into Palestine and the occupied territories as a testing ground and as a laboratory for the Israeli surveillance and arms industry, we see a direct example of how colonialism, settler colonialism with militarism, with capitalism is just feeding itself, how it's making this situation here not only profitable, but if you look into the right-wing government, they want it to stay like that.
It's exactly like the arms industry of Israel. It's also a kind of armed industry. Maybe it doesn't kill people, but it kills their privacy, it kills their human rights, it kills their civil rights. And the Israelis are very proud to be part of it. And that's the point. It's not about doing those things because many countries do it. But only in Israel, it's such a pride. It's such a normalization and legitimization of dealing with really taking the rights of individuals without any justification and or legitimization.
Despite having put in place such a remarkable surveillance system that monitors every moment of Palestinian lives in the occupied territories and that should guarantee the safety of Israeli citizens, on October 7, 2023, Hamas fighters in Gaza managed to breach Israel's technological fortress with astounding ease.
They were sure that this technology will guarantee two things. First of all, that we have the best intelligence in the world and the most sophisticated intelligence, and we know the color of every underwear of every Palestinian in Jabalia. And finally, Israel was surprised and the IDF was totally surprised. Nobody saw it coming. And then we were sure that we built this barrier, the most sophisticated barriers, all kinds of electronic devices for billions of dollars. And then few hundred fighters on bicycles and motorcycles crossed it like nothing.
How was this made possible? And how did the Palestinian resistance to the occupation manage to orchestrate such a complex operation?
المقاومة يعني أصابت بحظ وافر فيما يتعلق بامتلاك بعض الأدوات الرقمية التي تستطيع من خلالها أن تؤثر، سواء كان يعني ما يخدم الجهد العسكري من جهة أو ما يخدم قواعد البيانات وأي أعمال ممكن توضع تحت قضية المقاومة أو حتى الدفاع، يعني سواء كان ما يتعلق بالهجوم أو الدفاع.
Over a year ago, TRT World had obtained access to Hamas's cyber unit, an exclusive insight into the activities of one of the Palestinian group's best-kept secrets.
In fact, the Palestinian resistance has adopted multiple methods to overcome the Israeli digital and non-digital control in all fields. We in the Palestinian resistance have succeeded in achieving this goal. This great success has enabled the Palestinian resistance to be operative and successful until this day. Well, we have encountered a strategic dilemma in the communication sector, which in turn led our fighters to be murdered by the occupation and our missions become prone to danger and to be sabotaged. A number of our fighters were murdered by the occupation due to the wide-scale and comprehensive tracking to the Palestinian public communication system. It's known that the Palestinian public communication nets are affected and tracked by the Israeli occupation forces, which really facilitates the process of its penetration.
بالنسبة للجانب الفلسطيني أيضا يعني الحصول على معلومات من الخارج مثلا لها علاقة بقضية أدوات المقاومة مثلا عملية الاتصال، شبكات الاتصال، التشبيك، سهولة نقل المعلومات وتخزينها وتداولها، فتح مجال الاتصال على مستوى الشعبي أو المستوى النخبوي، عملية التنسيق وإقامة بعض مثلا غرف العمليات المشتركة، هذا الحقيقة يعني متاح والمقاومة تكلمت عن ذلك. هذا لم يكن متاح في الحقيقة في السابق باستخدام أدوات الاتصال التقليدية، لكن باستخدام أدوات الاتصال الرقمية هذا أصبح متاحا، وأنا بتصور أن هناك هامش كبير جدا ممكن الاستفادة منه، خاصة أن هذه التكنولوجيا لم تعد قاصرة على الدول إنما أيضا أصبحت في متناول الأفراد، ويمكن رب جماعات تمتلك من التقانة والقدرة على التأثير أكثر من بعض الدول.
Actually, the Palestinian resistance communication net was established in different stages. In the first stage, the first limited communication net was created in a specific area to thwart the Israeli ground invasion to this area. This experiment was successful with fruitful consequences. Thus, the Al-Qassam Brigade's leadership decided to fortify this project and issued a resolution to create a special network affiliated to Al-Qassam Brigades that covers all battlefields inside the Gaza Strip. This project has been supervised by a group of creative engineers who have such a great loyalty to the homeland.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
As the war broke out in Gaza, and the IDF laid 2.2 million Palestinians under siege to allegedly eradicate Hamas, the conflict also moved onto the digital sphere once again. Despite the communications blackouts in Gaza, what is at stake is control over the narrative of events.
The Israeli army has its own social media accounts that it uses to blast content that is supportive of Israeli operations during major military confrontations. So we've seen the digital sphere become a new terrain of the conflict in the past 10 years, and I think that will only intensify as younger generations use these platforms and politicize them.
التواجد الفلسطيني في البيئة الرقمية هو حق من حقوقه، خاصة وأن إسرائيل تتحكم في قطاع الاتصالات الفلسطينية وقدرة هذا القطاع على تطوير نفسه. لذلك إسرائيل هي من تهدد الانفتاح الفلسطيني الرقمي على العالم، وهي من تضع العراقيل أمامه بوصفها كيان احتلال يسعى على الدوام إلى الحد من وصول الرواية الفلسطينية إلى العالم. فهي لا ترغب إلا بانتشار روايتها، ومن هذه الناحية أو من هذا المدخل قد يشكل التواجد الرقمي الفلسطيني تهديداً على أحادية وهيمنة الرواية الإسرائيلية، وقد ينزع عنها مصداقيتها أمام العالم، وهو أمر لا ترغب إسرائيل في أن يتحقق.
The Palestinian narrative has dominated the digital world because you could censor this much, you could silence this much, but you cannot silence everybody. And that's why I think there are many cracks in this wall, digital wall, media wall that has been built around the Palestinian narrative. There are many cracks in these walls, and we are counting on the truth And the truth does not need a lot of money to convey it, to report it, to bring it out. Just the truth. And anybody who tries to suppress the truth would require a lot of money to do that, a lot of efforts, a lot of lobby. But if you really after the truth, it doesn't take that much. It's effortless.
يعني حاليا احنا نمر في وقت صعيب حتى تصوير هذا اللقاء ما بيني وبينكم. المحتوى الفلسطيني يعاني الآن من مخاض عسير. المؤثرين الفلسطينيين ممنوعون بشكل كامل من الحديث على ما يخص ما يتعلق في فلسطين، ما يتعلق في غزة، ما يتعلق في القدس، من التنكيل، من الحرب، عن السجون، عن كل ما يتعلق في ما يعانيه الشعب الفلسطيني. من يتكلم في حرف واحد خارج السياق يتم اعتقاله والتنكيل به وضربه. من يقوم بالحديث عن هذا الموضوع أيضا يتم تسكير صفحاتهم على منصات التواصل الاجتماعي. فهي أكبر رسالة وأعظم رسالة لكل الشعب الفلسطيني لا يعرف إنه رسالتنا ورسالة الشعب الفلسطيني لما نقدمها للعالم هي بتوصل للناس، فهم شايفين حجم التأثير اللي احنا بنكون فيه، فلا تنسونا.